Better you should smoke pot than buy all those records. And would you please stop playing with matches?
So we are in Turbenthal, Switzerland. As you can see, there goes a train. So this is a train track that obviously at one point was for freight, because this is a factory. So this is where HiFiction is, and we're going to go inside, and this is where they make the Thales turntables and tone arms, and now EMT cartridges. And as my host told me, that this factory is where they invented elastic mattress covers. It's the home of elastic mattress covers. And if the day goes well, we'll all be 4 sheets to the wind. And here we are. This is kind of as this is exactly how I imagined this place. It's amazing how this is exactly how I imagined it would be. It would be quiet, well organized, all desktop. Can I just walk around and shoot video? So let's just take a quick tour. This is high precision.
Michael.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So show us around, Micha.
This is internal parts of the bearing. Yeah. This is the bearing clutch.
Yeah. And where are these manufactured? These are made for you?
This is all made for us in Switzerland, yeah, from different suppliers. But we have a very wide spectrum from large parts, like you see here,
Right.
and then down to very small parts. So we need to work with different suppliers.
Sure. Okay. How many people work here?
10.
10. Wow.
And this is 2 assembling spaces for tone arms.
It's as precise as I expected to find it.
Here you can see some tone arm parts.
And the sun doesn't affect it in any way over time?
Rubber parts only, but not parts like this.
They're sold out so fast, so it won't make any difference.
What's really amazing to me is how far your designs have come from the first one that you brought over to my house with the giant arm.
Yeah.
It's gotten so much more sophisticated and compacted.
Assembling space for cartridges.
So this is all the equipment that came over from EMT to here. These microscopes.
This is microscope, and this is a winding machine. You will see that in action. Ja. Then you have some storage room.
And what gets stored in there? Nuts and bolts? Parts?
Yeah, parts for tone arms, for example. Yeah, you can see here.
All different colors, or is that
Yeah, this is different colors of the Simplicity tone arm.
Yeah.
blasting.
Bead blasting, yeah.
So we do all the surface treatment ourselves of the cartridge parts and tone arm parts, for example. So that means we can order from different suppliers and then do the surface finish ourselves, and everything looks the same.
So is that sand or beads?
We have both. We have like sand and then glass.
Yeah.
This is the measurement side. So we do have a decoupled table, you see here, with 300 kilograms decoupled mass. So we can do a rumble and speed constant.
So what was that table used? It's obviously a vintage table.
Yeah, that was made for EMT turntables.
Oh,
yeah.
So you got that from there?
From EMT, yeah. It's that's what they measured all the EMT 930 mainly. Then we have measurement equipment for speed constancy, for level. And we use the broadcast turntable to adjust the cartridges.
Yep.
And this is the place where we do the final adjustment of the cartridges. This one we will do that later.
What's that for?
This is
magnetizer.
the magnetizer. So during assembling the Alnico magnets, they are not magnetized because it's easier to assemble. And then before a final measurement, we do the magnetizing.
How long does that take?
15 seconds.
That's all, and then it's done?
Yeah.
And it stays magnetized forever?
Yeah. So we get sometimes cartridges maybe 40, 50 years old and still not measurable if there was any loss. Then we do have little machining here, so we can do small parts ourselves with a lathe and milling and drilling machines.
And this is small parts manufacturing for your tone arms?
Mainly for cartridges.
For cartridges? Oh,
And for development, so if you do like prototypes, then we do it here.
and so all of this came with the EMT purchase? Or
No, that was our.
You had that already? And what is that?
This is a climate controller, so we can go from minus, the minimum is I think minus 30 degrees up to 200, and you can set the humidity. So for example, we treat rubber parts or things like that before final assembling. We treat them in here, and you can go maybe one day high temperature and then the other day low, so it switches between minimum and maximum.
And that conditions the rubber
Yeah.
parts?
Yeah. It's aging and conditioning, like artificial aging. So that means it will not change properties anymore.
That's it. And how long, like, do you put in like elastomer suspensions for the cartridges in there, or
Yes, so all suspensions parts, they are treated in here, yeah.
how long does a cycle take before they're ready to be put together?
This is very different because we use different rubber parts. It's not only one single, but sometimes it can take 48 hours, and for others it takes 24 only.
And where does the knowledge come to know how long a particular kind of rubber has to be conditioned? I mean, how do you know that?
This is a lot of trial and error.
Oh.
So when we changed the rubber suspension of the EMT cartridge 4 years ago, and then we found a new supplier with industrial rubber, and then of course it's working together with them. They say, okay, try this, try that.
Right.
But then to bring it to the cartridge function, we had to do a lot of trial. Yeah.
So how long have you owned EMT, the cartridge company? How long has that been?
So I took over production like in 5 years ago, and then I took over the distribution 1 year ago. Yeah.
So the distribution part of it's like a business thing as opposed to a manufacturing thing. It's different, although you distribute your turntables too. But did that take a lot of your time just to be able to?
No, basically we took over all distribution network.
So it was already a mature system set up, and you just had to take it over. And
it was this kind of contract. So because EMT, the people got retired in steps, so we said, okay, we first take this part of the manufacturing, then the next part, then the next, and at the end the distribution.
So all well organized. The whole process, the handoff was well organized and without problems.
Yeah, we started planning this like almost 10 years ago.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Because it's difficult. Many companies do that too late. So then they run in troubles.
Something happens and they just fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
And so has it all worked out as you envisioned it, pretty much?
I mean, there were a lot of unexpected technical problems, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Because it's so old. But then again, I would say everything turned out to...
But it's nice to be vertically integrated, so you have cartridges, arms, turntables. I mean, you're... Yeah,
and I must say we are, I think, one of the very few manufacturers that build turntables, tone arms and cartridges.
I'd say so. House, yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. And it's a lot of, by building tone arms, it's good use to have knowledge about cartridges and the other way around.
Yeah. That sounds like a good system that you got worked out, to have the whole thing top to bottom. And how many people that buy, maybe you don't want to answer this, but how many people now that buy your tone arms and turntables end up with an EMT cartridge? Is that increased?
Yes, I would say so. Yeah. Because they know it's developed in one house and then manufactured in one house, and then makes sense.
And can you ship with the cartridge pre-installed in your little head shell thing, so the customer just gets it?
So we sell that as a package.
Yeah, that adds a lot of value. People don't have to worry about installing a cartridge. It's ready to go when they get it.
Yeah, and actually you can set the azimut here already.
Yeah.
Because everything will stay the same.
Yeah, that's a big advantage. Yeah.
And here you have to come again like in 1 year, because this will be the EMT museum.
Oh.
With all the effect. Yeah, all equipment they ever built. We have one piece here. Also all the turntables, 930, 928.
Oh, there are people going to watch this and they're going to drool.
We will have a nice museum here within a couple months.
So a lot of these parts here, these are like pro pieces for manufacturing. They're not.
So it's like two things. It's some measurement equipment for manufacturing, like this.
Right.
Speed constancy, and then it's a lot of reverbs. So they did a lot of digital reverbs.
Oh, sure.
And actually, they did the very first digital reverb in the world. This one.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
250.
I've seen that one.
And we're right now in arranging a museum.
Now you don't manufacture the EMT plate reverbs anymore, any of that kind of stuff.
No.
But it's just part of the history.
Yeah. And the turntable's 948. This one. We'll have this one at Munich show as well.
Oh, you're taking this to the Munich show?
Yeah.
Really? That's a lot of work, isn't it? Traveling with a thing like this?
Yeah, but we can play mono, shellac, and mono records.
Yeah.
Show the cartridges. And then here a little bit rigged down because of Munich show, but we have a small listening system in here.
Ah, this is familiar to me. For anybody who hasn't seen this is essentially your first design.
Yeah, this is the very first tone.
Yeah. And I wrote about this. I described this as looking like a seal balancing a tone arm on its nose. Well, you've taken this a long way since then.
Yeah.
And of course, the cynics would say, how come you couldn't figure it out to begin with, what you've got now? How come you had to start with this?
This is the new step-up transformer. So we will launch that at Munich show. It has silver transformers inside, and then 14 dB output for EMT cartridges, and one additional for lower output voltage.
I like the industrial design of this. It's really it's like a traditional thing.
It looks like EMT.
Yeah, that's great. What is that going to sell for? Do you know yet?
Around $7,000.
And this is one of your newer. Oh no, that's a copy.
Packaging here, of course. Now everything is ready for Munich show. I have one showroom back at my home with another equipment and the YG Carmel speakers.
Mm-hmm.
So when I do real reference listening, then it's back home. And for quick testing, we can do it here. Yeah, actually we are always working on something new, of course.
Yeah.
So we have this is my development place. This is for Munich show as well.
And there are your awards.
This is some awards.
Stereo sound. So you're both you run the business as well, right? So you have someone else running your business, or you run it too?
No, I run the business.
So you run the business. You're a businessman. You're an inventor. You're a vinyl junkie. You're all of those things.
I would say I'm mainly an inventor and a vinyl junkie, both. Yeah. And the business is more like I have a very good team, and then they are working very much on their own.
Yeah.
So I often can be like maybe 1 week away and everything works.
Yeah. And you have new arms and turntables in development?
There are some, of course we released the statement last year, so that was quite new for the tone arm. And we are working on a new cartridge technology, which I will show you hopefully by the end of this year.
And so, at this point in time in your line, you have how many turntables do you have in the line?
We have 2 turntable models and 3 tone arms.
And how many cartridges do you have?
This is in total 7 HiFi cartridges and then 3 tone doser for the broadcast stuff.
And is there one of each model here that we can look at, or no? Things are packed up for the show.
It's all packed for Munich.
Yeah, everybody's packed for Munich.
The easiest would be to... What I can show you.
Yeah.
Here you can see the different models. So they vary in the body, in the cantilever, and in the diamond.
And the coil wind, the coils are all the same material?
Yeah, the coil is the same. We can do lower output on request, but basically the generator is identical. Some of the ones that are right now in production. Here you see the tone dose.
Still make that?
Yeah.
That's a familiar one to me. I think I reviewed one like that.
Now this is discontinued, so this is the follower.
Oh.
That was a repair.
So you get rid of that plastic front piece there.
This is not plastic, that's magnesium.
Oh, same thing. It looks like plastic.
Yeah. No, but this is the red one is the follower of the white.
And does that improve the sound, not having that large piece there in front?
Yeah, I would say it makes it more rigid, the design of the red body.
Yeah.
You know what this white shield was for?
No.
I'll show you.
We're learning as we go.
So when they use that in broadcast application, they had a light here, and this light shines on the white shield.
Oh, so you can see that the reflection.
They could see through the magnifying glass. You can see the groove much better. That's what this white shield is made for.
So you don't really need that anymore.
No. In broadcast application, yes.
Yeah. But who's playing Well, I wish they all would play turntables and broadcast.
Yeah, we still do cartridges for some broadcast companies.
Oh, good.
Yeah. That's why.
Oh, now I know. Now we know.
And they, the goal was so they see the groove in here. And let me check. Oh, now I locked the platter for Munich show.
Yeah.
But actually they could place it directly at the start and then hold their finger here and move the platter backwards until here.
Back here.
So
and
that
here.
means when it was starting, here it was up at speed. So it was exactly at speed when the track started.
I see. And there's the 33 and the 45 mark.
78.
Yeah, because I did this for a number of years as a DJ when you could play whatever you wanted. So you had a huge record collection, and you'd play a record and run back and think of what you wanted to play next, and cue it up and get it ready and do a nice smooth segue.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't as sophisticated as this. I can tell you that it was not like that.
And you can change here cartridges like stereo, mono 25 microns and mono 65 for shellac.
Yep.
Without adjusting tracking force. Everything is preset.
So in other words, the head shell and the cartridge are preset in every parameter.
Yeah.
And weight and
you can just exchange.
Yeah. And the tracking force would be the same, or
Yes.
really?
Yeah.
You can track a 78 at like 2 grams.
2.5 grams,
Yeah.
and there were other cartridges with 9 grams, so
Yeah.
like the OFD, but they are heavier, so then you don't need to do any change.
Oh,
You
so
just
the head shell has everything in it that it
Yeah.
needs. That's smart.
Yeah.
You gonna bring any shellac 78s to the
I
show?
will, yeah.
Oh, that's great. Oh, good. I'm not.
And you can take some moves when she assembles cartridges.
Okay.
And tust du nachher einen Mandel wickeln?
Muss eigentlich.
Yeah. And after that she will wind a coil.
Okay.
So maybe it's possible that.
So we're in cartridge manufacturing. I'm talking to the people. So we're in cartridge manufacturing mode. So you can see there are the little things that go over the cartridge pin, so you know that it's whether it's hot or ground or all the different colors. And there are the pins. So how long have you been doing this?
It's about 6 months.
6 months?
Yes, I'm new here.
Wow. And when you were a little girl, did you imagine this is what you would do when you grew up? No. Don't tell me yes, because there's no way.
But now I like what I'm doing.
I'm sure it's a cool thing.
It's really
a cool thing.
Yes,
yeah.
really cool.
It is a cool thing. It wasn't for a long time, but now it is again.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you will be building something that people will make beautiful music with
Yes, that's right.
and enjoy
Yes, that's right.
every day. And they have you to thank. They won't know who you are, but maybe now they will when they see this video.
That's right.
And how long did it take you to become proficient at doing this?
6 months, I
6
can
months,
say.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
really. I'm just learning every day.
We
Something new.
all are. If we're doing life correctly, we're all learning
Yes,
every day.
That's right.
When we stop learning, we're not living anymore. So
That's really right.
and so, what are you doing now? What is that?
I'm just preparing the pins because I needed to make the cartridges.
Okay. Oh yeah, so the wire has to go connected to the pin, the back,
Yes.
right? Of course. How stupid of me.
It's okay, you can always ask. It's never stupid to ask.
No, there are no stupid questions. There are only stupid answers.
Yes, that's right. Okay.
I don't want to make you nervous. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Flaviano, and I take care of the assembling and the whole production of the tone arms of Thales. And now I'm going to show you some little pieces of our own manufactured tone arm lifter. Come with me. Well, the main difference between our tone arm lifter and the usual that most of the brand use is that you can, now it's not assembled, maybe we can take another shot when it's assembled so you can see the difference. It's a direct lifter, as you already noticed at your statement we brought you.
Yeah.
It goes down like directly. You can't just pull it down, otherwise your cartridge will maybe break, but if once you get used to it, like you can really go down onto the, pretty much on the vinyl, adjust it, take your track and then go down. And that's one of the things I think is really, really amazing, because the other lifter, you put down the lifter and then it automatically sinks and sinks until it gets to the vinyl. And that's one of the main differences. And it was a kind of a challenge as well to make something different, something new, no one has ever done before.
So all these parts are to make one tone arm lifter?
Absolutely. All the parts for this function at the end.
So do you want to do it on camera or do you want to just do it off camera?
I guess I'll do it off camera and I'll show you the result.
That's
since
a good idea.
It will take a little while, so...
And I don't want to get stage fright and get nervous and, you know...
Exactly.
I wouldn't want to be doing this under the lights myself, so, okay. So now I'm going to turn the camera off, and magic, when we come back, it'll be done.
Yeah.
Could be a couple of days, but it'll be done.
Also eine muss ich noch.
Aber einen schicke ich.
So you're packing final cartridges to ship out.
Yes, exactly.
Gotta be careful, don't slip.
No. It never happens.
Good. It's exciting because someone's going to get this home and really be excited about having it, and they're going to install it on their tone arm, or they're going to play a record. On the first record they play, they're going to go, wow, that's fantastic.
Yes, and sometimes they also send us an email and they tell us how happy they are to get it finally.
And does each person get one of these printouts of the frequency response of their particular cartridge?
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
Now, the final version, like the assembled version of our manufacturing lifter, it's a direct one. As you see, if you go down, the lifter goes down as well, but direct. It won't go down slowly.
It's in real speed.
Exactly. well,
So you're in control, not the pneumatics.
exactly. So if you don't want to play it, it'll stay right there. Okay, then we have the bass. The first thing we set up on the turntable, of course you know that.
Yes, I know. I've done it.
I know. Then, this is the bass. Now, the tubes are still missing. Choose a color. Gold, black, or silver. Which one?
Which one do I want to see you assemble? I think you should assemble one that's commensurate in color with this. Do the black one. Do the black one. Paint it black, you devil.
Voila. So the positioning stays as it should. Now here what we see is still a bit of Loctite. We're gonna get that away.
And this would be how you would be assembling to put with package one to
Exactly.
to go to a customer or a dealer.
No, that's just the pre-assembling for me actually. Because
Okay.
here you have like the azimuth function, which you could see at the end. You see the brass thing.
Yep.
They'll move and that will change the azimuth in a way that I'll show you now. Basically, since the statement is based on the Thales simplicity, you'll maybe notice a couple of the parts. The azimuth adjustment will be basically this. That this finger will go inside the brass piece, and as you move it, you'll get the azimuth adjustment. Then, to make it more stable, what's also one of the big differences to the simplicity is that the whole bearing is covered to get more stability
Yes.
without the whole vibration. It will stop the vibration as well. This will be like that, and the tubes will come out the front and the back. But of course, it's a bit hard to imagine now since everything is laying around.
How long did it take you to learn how to assemble one of these?
It's hard to say because it wasn't a product that already existed. So we had to find out, is it possible? If yes, how is it possible? And it took me 2 or 3 days, to be sure to find a way that it really works well to assemble without hurting all the parts that are really well coated,
Right, scratch it. You don't want to scratch
Exactly.
anything.
Just has to take the time. It's almost a bit like in the watchmaking industry
Yeah,
as well.
of course it is.
We took a lot of the steps of the watchmaking industry as well.
Yeah.
The coating. This coating especially comes. I won't say it's special from the watchmaking industry, but it's used a lot there since the pieces are small and it's really thin.
Now these tubes are not parallel. That's purposeful, right? The shape.
Exactly.
So
This is for the same purpose as here from the bearings for the stabilization. Since it's elliptic, the tubes are elliptic, then the base as well is elliptic, so you got more surface to stabilize it in the base. Here as well, stabilization of the bearings, and also the coating. We chose coatings that help damp. So you got the materials that damp and shouldn't resonate. Then as well, you can also put coatings on top of these materials that at the end they resonate.
Sure.
So it's also an important step to take coating that does work with the material, not against it,
right.
But these are the main pre-assembling parts: the lifter, the base, the tubes, the bearings. And now maybe we'll make a small break again, and we'll come back when the magic happens.
Okay. So now it's 5 minutes later. You put the whole thing together.
4 or 5 minutes, of course. Well, now the azimuth adjustment that I just showed you, fully assembled, will looked like this. Here you got an index. So in case you use different cartridges, you can just write down like the index your EMT cartridge, for example, plays in, and then you just go back to that index every time you change the cartridge. So you don't always have to put it on the computer, like set up the whole assembly.
Right. Yeah.
You
The
can
lines
just
there, of
change
course.
it.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, sure. So
Makes complete sense. Is that lock in place once you get it set, or you just turn the screw?
well, you can turn the screw to adjust it, but
then-
first you have to undo these two screws.
Right. And then when you're done adjusting, you tighten them back.
Exactly. Then it's fixed again. So let's
And
pretend we're on.
how much pressure, how much torque do you have to apply to those? Not too much, right?
Not too much.
Because,
Just has
audiophiles tend
to-
to like to tighten things because they're...
Yeah, that's why I put some Loctite in, so it will be fixed anyway. So you don't have to do them really hard. It's just important that the whole bearing fixation it just closes
Right.
and fixes the
But you
bearing.
can loosen those and adjust it.
It's
If you need to, you can loosen those two screws.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah. Then the same here, same adjustment for the VTA. You already know that.
Right.
Like for the heat.
And you just do it here.
Exactly, that I can show that as well.
I know how to do it. Let's show everybody else how you do that.
Exactly, like I come on that side. So you just go down.
And then do you tighten that post, or does it stay by itself?
The heat will stay by itself, but at the end, very important is to tighten that screw, so
Right. That's
the
what
tone arm won't
yeah.
be like loose
Wobbly.
in the base. But as soon as it's set, like it's all done, fixed, and ready to play, it's the same one you saw on that turntable playing.
Right.
Like maybe you want to switch to that one.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do that.
This is fine.
Free. It costs thousands of dollars to buy this on. It's
No,
not free.
not that free, right? It always depends on what.
Different
What equipment
different
you have at
cultures
home.
like different things.
Absolutely, and then what the other equipment looks like as well.
And the finish on this is really beautiful. I mean, it's not gaudily gold. It's got a satiny.
Exactly, it's sandblasted. I can show you the room where we do that.
Yeah.
if you
Yeah, I
want.
was in there. I saw
You
that.
already seen it?
Yeah.
So yeah, the whole finish is also like 3 or 4 steps with different sands.
Yeah.
So you get exactly that finish.
So you have sand and bead blasting with glass beads too.
Exactly, it's 2 different procedures.
What is this used for?
Actually, that's a small. I don't know how to say it in English. Actually, the tool, Drehbank. You know, to machine pieces. You know?
Of course, everything in that period of time had to be green. That was a law. There was a law all over the world.
It's quite
Any small piece of machinery had to be green.
in that green exactly.
Yeah, that green, or
Yeah.
maybe a little darker green, but green.
But you know what? It's the good machines. Honestly, like I will never give that away. It's actually coming from the watchmaking industry.
Huh.
It's way smaller than it usually.
Yeah. All these small parts, are these made specifically for you, or are these things that are available in life that you can just buy from manufacturers?
They are absolutely not available there, especially for the statement tone arm. So
C-Take, an Integra company, makes these specifically for you.
this
that's-
specific piece, yes, it's from that company.
Okay.
It also will get sandblasted and finished as all the parts, of course. These are out of steel. For resonant purposes, they are hardened. How do you say?
Hardened steel, yeah.
Hardened steel, yeah, and polished, of course, for anti-rust.
Yep.
But these are especially all pieces just for statement tone. With all the bearings. The bearings
Wow,
we
look
change the
at those.
fats.
Wow.
Inside we have to wash them, like put in the right fat for the perfect friction.
The right what? Fet?
It's kind of it's a fat. It's
A FET to me is a field effect transistor. So
well, it's a lubrication.
Oh, I see.
Not a fat. In German, it's called fat.
Oh, okay.
It's lubrication, so we put in the right one in the right amount and for the perfect friction. So at the end, you get a free tone arm. Not financially free, but
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. It's all very interesting. People, myself included, don't really appreciate the precision and the number of tiny parts.
I can lift all the.
Especially for an arm like this that has the tangential tracking capability. Have you ever had a big oops where you drop one of these and the parts go all over the floor? No, that's good. That's why you're still. That's why you're still here.
Yeah. I wouldn't be staying here. No, actually, these are quite big parts for me. So if I lose,
Yeah.
let's say like that, like if you lose one of these, it's quite easy to find it again.
Like how much is? Do you know how much one of those costs? Just like say a part like that.
I can tell you about this. It's more or less 20 francs, at least.
Okay, that's
So you
quite.
have to keep in mind, like there's like 20 francs one time. Then, for example, these are 15, but there are 2 of these, and you know, at the end, it's quite a lot of money.
Of course,
Inside of that.
a lot of money in parts.
Absolutely.
And when you're done, you have something that doesn't even tell time. I mean, how sad is that? It can't even tell you what time it is.
It's not even a bad thing.
No, it's a good thing. You can always use your phone to tell you what time it is. You can't use your phone to play a record. I know that.
That's true.
Not yet.
That's true.
Probably never.
Not sandblasted yet. So this is how we get the pieces out of production.
Right.
Like these are made out of a special brass. So all the stuff you still see from the production cutting out, stuff that doesn't look good.
Yeah, it doesn't look.
So we take that out before sandblasting, so that at the end you won't see any satinage or polishing or any production stuff. Still, it's handmade at the end, but the big goal is that you can't see it. Now this is completely dirty, so it will get cleaned. Oh, I'm sorry. It will get cleaned first, and after that, it will get coated.
That's been sandblasted already.
Absolutely, exactly. So first step, take away all the machining stuff you still see you don't want on the pieces. Then it gets sandblasted, washed, sandblasted again, washed again, so you don't have the old sand inside the pieces. And after that, you coat it.
I don't even recognize where these. I recognize this. I don't recognize these pieces.
It's actually another one. These are all parts from the Simplicity tunnel.
Okay.
The other one was the statement, but
Right.
it's the same.
Same principle, right?
Absolutely, yeah. But you can play a lot with this, with the finishes. If you take another sand, you get like a finer. If you sandblast with the gloss for a long time, you get shinier, for example. But also the surface will get harder, depending, of course, what coating you put on after that, of course. And it's kind of a small science for itself.
These I recognize.
Yeah, that's the base of the Simplicity.
If we were to go to a watch manufacturer, it would be fairly similar in a lot of ways, I assume.
Yeah.
Just because that's where this whole
It's
thing
just
started.
it's just a bit bigger. But the whole thing with the coating, finishing, it's absolutely. We took a lot of producing steps of the watchmaking industry and put it inside of our toners.
Are you ready for your close-up, Miss Swanson?
Yes, I can try.
Okay, so here we have these teeny tiny little.
I just prepare it a bit.
Don't try this at home.
They are really tiny.
Very fine wires.
Yes.
Don't sneeze. Don't make jokes. I'm making jokes, I'm sorry. I better stop. I'm going to leave you alone because if I keep doing this, you'll ruin something and I'll be very sorry.
Are you doing a close-up?
Okay, so this is the coil winding machine. And so you've got a stylus on there, cantilever, and then there's a pipe, and you'll be winding the wire around the former.
Yes.
And it's counting them. Mm-hmm. So she's put 807 winds. No.
80. And now I'm going to fix it with glue.
And that's a material that fixes the
Yes.
the coil so they don't move anymore.
Yeah. It's glue.
And when you're done, let me see if I can get the camera to look in through the microscope and actually see it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that's going to happen, but we can try. I'm going to try to look in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can. This is probably an impossible task, but let's see what happens. Whoa. Yeah, we got it. Yeah, see it? See that at home? You can see those coils and you can see the pipe sticking out the back there. And now that we got a pipe, we're going to smoke something. Oh, no, sorry. There it is. My hand is so steady, I can probably do this job when I retire. Okay, so I'm going to attempt to adjust this cartridge on camera. If anything happens, tell my wife I love her. Okay, so this is a brand new cartridge, just got built, right?
It's a repair.
It's a repair, okay.
Yeah. So this is the magnetizing process. We magnetize for 15 seconds. And then we use the EMT turntable setup. So this has a connection which can be released very often because during the process we have to detach and detach it several times. So do set the tracking force, that's the easy part.
Always is. Setting it, that's the easy part.
Yeah.
What is the correct tracking force for this cartridge?
It's between 2.3 and 2.5. So while playing we normally use 2.4 and to do the measurements we use the maximum 2.5. PC and we use the software.
All right, so the cartridge goes in. It goes into a A to D converter, and it goes into the oscilloscope in parallel, so you can measure with the oscilloscope and on the computer.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
And there's the phono stage in between.
Right.
So this does the RIA and the
Which one do you use?
This is a Lehman.
Black Cube, yeah, that's a good reference. And do you have that calibrated before you use it to make sure that everything?
Yes, we calibrate them once a year, and it's a little modified, so we can switch on mono to the mono cartridges, and I can put each channel minus 10 dB. So if we measure like lower output cartridges, we can switch.
Right.
Set the trackability.
And this is the test record that you had made for it specifically for you.
Yeah, correct. Here you see the date where we start, so we take this in April and then it ends in June.
Yeah.
Now here you can see this is now 70 microns, so we have already distortion on the left channel. That means the skating is not correctly because it's not equal.
Yep.
And also it's too early. It should track 80 microns, so that means the damping needs to be softer.
Yep. Okay.
But what we do now is we make the damping softer.
Okay.
So I'll take. Okay. Then Flaviano can take the camera.
I'm going to try to adjust the damping on this cartridge. This is beyond anything I've done in setting up a cartridge. This is actually getting in the guts, and I feel bad for the person who's going to get this cartridge, unless they know me and like me, in which case they can say I did something to their cartridge that they like. I don't know.
We will give it to you for review. So there's a hole inside this cylinder.
Right.
And then it's two screws coming from the left and right holding the cantilever unit.
Right.
So that means one of the screws we can completely release. And if we release the other screw, it will be loosen the whole transducer unit. So what you do through the microscope is you hold with your finger, you press a little bit against the diamond cantilever. Then you release this screw and you let it go a little bit. So you have to check through the microscope how much, and you just release it a little bit and then retighten the screw again.
You relieve it a little bit. Notice you let it come out a little bit. Once you hold it, loosen the screw and then slightly let it out a little bit and then tighten it.
Because you want to have it softer.
Right.
Okay.
And that's changing the in the back where you use a wire to it. The termination in the back of the barrel is what?
It's a string and then a brass clutch, so a brass piece.
Right.
And what you do is you set the force, how the pressure in between, the pressure on the rubber. Yeah. So now the pressure on the rubber should be less.
And you did it already?
No.
You didn't do it?
No.
Okay, so I'm left-handed. Is that going to affect how I do this?
Then you'd better use, basically it doesn't matter because you need both hands anyway, but the screwdriver would be better on the left, right?
Yes.
So then you do it the other way around.
This is nerve-wracking.
So that means you would use this screw to release.
I've actually straightened out an aluminum cantilever for somebody once.
Yeah.
And it worked. And it was Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys. So that's a whole nother story. Okay, so I'm looking under the microscope here. I'm seeing a total blur. So does that mean... Okay, now I'm seeing fingerprints. But I have to move this until I see... Okay, there it is. Okay. And I should be concentrating on where my finger is going to go?
Actually, you should be concentrating on the rubber. I will make you a drawing.
Okay. Oh, there's the rubber. Okay, I see it. It's right behind the coils.
Most probably you have to to adjust
Yeah.
the focus.
Yeah, actually it was pretty
Yeah.
good. So the rubber is right behind the coils, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you see how much the rubber is pressed.
Yes.
Yeah. So now it needs to be pressed a little less.
Right, okay. So I want to... I had it right in there before, and now I don't. Well, it's loose now.
Yeah.
Have I loosened it enough so it's coming out?
Mm-hmm.
Do I want it to come out more? Because the coil is now loose against the...
Yeah, it should be pressed a little bit against the rubber, just to be.
Okay, it is now pressed a little bit
Yeah.
against the rubber.
Yeah. We can test.
And then you're going to test it again. You got to tighten the other screw too, right?
You can do that at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, no issue.
That wasn't bad. I didn't break anything. My finger was pretty steady. I'm happy. I'm happy with my performance. Now we'll see whether it did anything.
Yeah, now it's most probably much too weak. Yeah,
It's not tracking at all.
Yeah, yes, you can see.
Oh, yes, that's too, yes. No, there's no
And
suspension.
it should track and it should not distort because it's much too soft. So you can go closer.
Okay, so I have to push a little more. How many times does it usually take to get this right?
If you're experienced, maybe 3 times.
Okay, so I'm not off the grid yet.
No.
It's quite hard.
And if you're unlucky, it can take 10 times.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try it now. I pushed it back. Can you see?
It's
Is it
still too soft.
close to soft?
Yeah.
I don't want. I'm afraid to push too hard on the
Yeah.
camera. You know.
This should be. It's okay. And it's also important to, if you
want it to-
look from the side,
Yeah.
it's important to press exactly in the direction of the
Straight back, yeah.
of the cylinder.
Yeah.
Because if you do it the other way around, then it will be soft always because it's out of angle,
Right. Okay. Now it's not focused. Now I'm not focusing anymore.
Or it will break.
or it will break. Then we will go to the ladies and ask for another one.
You say, hey, ladies.
Pressure's on now. Okay. Yep. This is the right screw, right?
Mm-hmm.
For some reason it doesn't want to go in the slot. No, it's out.
Yeah, if you like, I can do the screw and you do just the adjustment of.
No, I gotta do the whole thing. It's annoying to me that I can't get the screw in the slot. Come on. That's as much as I dare push it in with my fingertip. Is that better? Still
I
limp?
think still too soft.
It's still limp. I'm just afraid to push it too much. There's nothing worse than a limp cantilever, let me tell you. Still too loose, huh?
Let me quickly check.
Yeah, what do you do? I pushed it, I did it, but I didn't want to push it too much.
Yeah. Do it the other way around.
I left a limp cantilever. Sad. See, now I'm going to see how much you actually, how much pressure you actually put on it. Oh, it's really deflecting your the flesh on your.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea. The thing is a lot more robust than I thought.
But only in one direction.
That's experience.
So now you see on 80 we have very little distortion here. So this is also because the skating is not absolutely perfect. So we can live with that one.
So you think it's good now?
Yeah. Now the difficulty is to do it exactly in the angle.
Yeah.
Because you have to feel you really press in the direction of
Right.
the cylinder and nothing else.
But what I saw was the amount of that the tip of the cantilever deflected your flesh in your finger
Yeah.
was way more than I pushed.
Yeah, most probably. Yeah.
So yeah, so I learned something, but I'm not going to do this again.
Now,
next time.
Now we do the next step.
So now I know how I can adjust my own suspension of one of my cartridges. I know how to do it now, but I'm not going to. I don't know.
Now you can do the azimuth. The azimuth.
Okay, that I'm good at.
Yeah. So what we see here is a stereo signal. You see blue is left,
Yep.
red is the right channel.
Yep.
We are minus 2 dB, it should be on minus 10, not on minus 12. So we have to be louder. That means the coil needs to be closer to the magnet. And then the right channel should be a little lower. So you turn the cylinder a little bit towards you.
I'll let you do that.
Yeah.
I'll get out of your way. So these are the kind of adjustments that on a really inexpensive cartridge don't get done. They just mass produce them.
So I push now the pole cylinder a little bit closer to the magnet. Now it will be louder only.
See, when you do this a lot, you can work with authority. He's boom, 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 boom. You know,
Now you see, so it's louder, but the right channel is still too loud. The left channel a little bit too loud. So of course you could already balance this with a tone arm setting.
Right, that's what I was going to say, that you can.
But of course we do it in the. We set it in the middle when we.
Yeah, this is really the best way to do it this way. Oh, look at that.
So now it's a little bit too loud. We check now crosstalk. So this is left to right. You see we are 26.
Yeah.
It's not incredible good. On the other one we don't see, so this is more than 40.
More than 40, yeah.
That means we have to correct the.
Yeah, you want to get them close.
Yeah.
Close. With how you want to get them within 1 dB approximately.
2 dB.
2 dB.
Yeah, that's what we normally do because the playing, the tone arm and everything is more.
Yeah.
So we set it into.
When I set it myself, I try to get it within 2 dB. If I get like 28 and 30, I'm good.
Mm-hmm. That was the wrong direction.
He moves very quickly. He moves very quickly back and forth. Boom, 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 boom. I'd be afraid. I work more slowly. We're good. It's good for a few more minutes. If we run out, it's okay.
So this is on 30. Still out.
It's probably something I did that's messing all this up. Oh, that's
That was a little bit too much.
Mm.
But
it's pretty close.
Much better now.
Yeah. Better before.
This is very, very little movement on the cylinder.
It's within it.
Would fit in. Yeah, that's okay.
That's good enough, I think.
Yeah. Let's see. This is now around 32, 33. And the other one, the same. Yeah. And you see the channel balance.
Oh, that's good.
So you didn't destroy anything.
I'd be happy to have that cartridge. I'm not saying that for any reason. I'm not saying I expect a cartridge. I'm just saying if I were buying a cartridge, I would be happy with that result.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
And then we normally let it rest for 24 hours at least. We do a final check.
Wow.
And then we do the frequency response writing.
That's great. And what does that cartridge sell for?
This is a JSD6. I think it sells for around $2,500.
Well, that's really getting it quite precisely set up for a cartridge that's not that costly. So that's good that you do that. Go through
Yeah,
that.
and we do it also. I mean, the less expensive is around $1,500, the HSD6, and we do the same.
Same thing.
adjustment.
Wow. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I didn't break anything, so that's a good thanks. But what I learned from that was I was not pressing in nearly hard enough. I was just literally touching it. And then when he did it, the end of the cantilever was disappearing into the flesh of his finger, way in. And then it was correctly set. That's why when I said it, and it first went on the record, it was limp. But, you know, better to err on the side of caution when it's somebody else's product, right? Okay.
Yeah, and then this is something many people forget. Things like this or assembling tone arms. This is something it's not something you need to learn. Oh, now I know how to do it, and then you can do it. You
Right.
need experience. Yeah.
Right, over and
You
over
need to
again.
do it.
Yeah, of course.
It's like playing an instrument.
Yeah.
You cannot just sit there. No, I know how to do it.
And it's also like setting up a cartridge in a tone arm. You know, and I tell people when they learn how to do it, get a really cheap cartridge that you're not going to worry about if you break. You know, get a $50, $30 cartridge and learn how to do it with that before you do it on your more expensive cartridge. And if you set it up, I tell them, if you set it up correctly, even an inexpensive cartridge will sound pretty good because you're going through doing all those things that you don't do. What you do here, you don't do on a $30 cartridge.
Yeah.
But if you put it on an arm where you can make all the adjustments, you can make it much better.
Yeah, of
You know,
course.
so. Okay,
Good, great.
thank you. I hope you found that interesting, because I did.